Wonderful. I'm very excited to see so many of you joining us today. And I'd like to start first by congratulating all of the YES alumni who participated in Global Youth Service Day activities during the month of April. I really hope that the last webinar was helpful for you as you planned your projects and implemented them in your communities around the world. We are all very, very proud of the hard work that you've done, and I encourage all of you to visit the YES website to learn more about what your peers have been doing over the last few months to bring change and leadership to their communities around the world. And this time, our webinar will be exploring a slightly different topic, but an equally important one, and that is professional development for youth. And many of you are graduating high school or starting college. Some of you are going straight into working. Others might already be in their careers, but wanting to start something new. In 2013, nearly 73.4 million youth around the world were unemployed, and that's a huge number. And so being a youth today is more difficult than ever. But as a YES alumni, you have a really unique set of skills and experience and knowledge that make you competitive assets to the job market. But the big question is, how do you turn your YES experience, both as an exchange student and as an alumni, into employment opportunities? How do you plan your career path? How do you stay competitive in the job market? And so today we'll be exploring some of these issues, and we'll be learning from two of our panelists, who I'm very excited to introduce to you, Abeer and Jimmy. Abeer is joining us from Palestine, and Jimmy is connecting from Nigeria. And they are both professionals in the world of career coaching and building, as well as successful entrepreneurs themselves. So in the chat box, you're welcome to ask your questions, and we'll hear from both of them. And then at the very end, we'll have some time to ask additional questions. So please ask them throughout, and we'll make sure to collect them. In the meantime, please be sure to respond to the polls that we have up on the screen right now. And throughout the rest of the webinar, we'll be asking additional questions as well. So again, thank you for joining us. Feel free to share out on Facebook and Twitter and any other social media platforms that you want to be using. And first, we will be introducing Jimmy. And let me tell you a little bit more about him. See if we can switch screens here. Okay, and Jimmy will be joining us here in a second. Hi, Jimmy, how are you?
Hello, Christine. Thanks for having me on board.
Well, we're really excited to have you. And like I mentioned, everyone, Jimmy is joining us from Nigeria, and he is a career success catalyst, and as well as the CEO of Inspiro Consulting, which is a career services and human resource consulting firm. And before establishing this consulting firm, Jimmy worked with 5 different organizations, including big names like Accenture, Ristral Consulting, Junior Achievement International, the United Bank for Africa, Bank PHB, all these big companies. And before that, you were also a manager at the United Bank for Africa, or senior manager at the United Bank for Africa. So you have a lot of professional experience working your way up through different organizations and institutions. And then you were most recently recognized for your online contributions to conversation through social media on career success amongst youth, not just in Nigeria, but really the whole of the world, really, where a lot of these issues relate to youth everywhere. So welcome. We're really excited to hear from you. And I'll go ahead and let you start I'll click out of here, and I'll see the rest of you a little bit later. And I'll let Jimmy share. I would just like to remind everyone that he has also provided us with some great files here below that you can download, some examples of cover letters and CVs some tips about how to talk about your YES experience professionally. So you can download those here, but they will also be available later. But thank you, Jimmy. We're really looking forward to hearing. So I'll go ahead and close out and let your presentation start.
Thank you, Kristen. And also thanks to everybody that has logged in. My name is Jimmy, like Kristen introduced me. I'm based in Lagos, Nigeria, and basically I have been involved with youth in Nigeria around career success. Now, just like the rest of the world, there's a lot of challenges people are facing with youth in terms of employment. And I did graduate from tertiary institution about 12 years ago. Okay, but I'm not as old as that might sound, actually. But the truth about it is that the challenges I faced at that time seem to be the same kind of challenges, although the numbers are different. There's a lot more unemployment today than before. And so my experience working with different organizations basically helped me to get to understand why, particularly as a recruiter, why people find it difficult, getting employment. I would say this, that organizations are still looking for excellent people to join their team to make the dream a reality. But more often than not, people attend interviews or they send out their CV and they never really get a response like they desire. So I have given time to understand what the challenges are. What I'm going to be doing in this session is basically to share some knowledge. I will share some stories that are relevant. Before I start the slides, let me just probably give you a little bit of my background, because one of the other things we find out about career success is that a number of people also have studied courses that, by the time they're maybe halfway in the course, they realize that they would rather be doing something else. That was my case. Interestingly, I studied agricultural economics at the university here in Nigeria. I had a pretty good degree, a class of degree at the end of the day, but I knew pretty early that that wasn't what I wanted to do. And so out of all the courses that I did at that point in time, I remember the one that I enjoyed the most was a course on management, okay? And I used to read books on management quite a bit. And so I did a bit of exploration, and I discovered that there was a field called management consulting. So when I moved to Lagos, I used to be in another city before. When I moved to Lagos, that was 2002, I got my first job at a consulting firm, a management consulting firm. And that basically set the pace for my career. I believe that it's not just sufficient to get employment. I think that you need to get employed in something you're interested in, something that you actually have the skills and capabilities and interest in, so that you are able to give the maximum value with that job role. Now, I'm just going to go right into the slides, and we'll take it from there. So I start off, just share a few demographic realities in the world today. Of course, we know that we have over 7 billion people that are on Earth. And that reality, actually brings a challenge along with it, all right? Now, youth, from the statistics that we have, constitute about 18% of the world's population. So you can do the numbers, that is quite some significant number. Now, that's about 1.something billion youth all over the world. Now, in addition to that, we've heard about the fact that there's a global village, all right? And so the world is becoming smaller with technology being implemented. The truth about it is that not even only technology, people are crossing borders. And so we have Nigerians in other nations, we have people from different nations coming around, even here in Nigeria. And so the competition for the available employment opportunities are, as it were, reducing over time. Okay, so that means that there's increased competition for available opportunities among youth. Now, of course, we graduate from different tertiary institutions with different classes of degrees. Recruiters are always faced with the challenge of saying, hey, how do I know that this person can add value to my organization? What differentiates this person from the next person? And so I want to start getting into what I really want to focus on, because I don't want to do the regular stuff you probably can read online on Google about how to write a resume, about how to do a cover letter. I want to give you the context so that you can now know how to apply it. All right. So I write here that the key to being employed, all right, therefore strongly lies in your competitive advantage. All right. And that's what I call your differentiator. So for me, for example, when I had my first job, I remember doing the interview, I was asked, why exactly should we hire you now? Interestingly, when I was in the university, I had been part of a group that we used to go to secondary schools or high schools at that time, and we gave free career sessions to them. And so I'd done things about facilitating, presenting, and all that, and I put that in my CV. And so I was asked questions about that. And so by the time I got to the interview, I said to them that, well, maybe people out there are good, other people from other universities, but the truth about it is that I doubt that many of them have had the exposure, that I've had. And of course, I was able to prove it because they asked me questions. So you must always have a competitive advantage, all right? That's what differentiates you from the numerous youth that are out there, okay? So let's get right into this, okay? So what exactly is your competitive advantage? I list three things here. First and foremost, it's what distinguishes you from every other applicant for a job role. Okay, so it could be around experience, it could be around your education, it could be about a particular skill. We're going to get into this as we go along, but you must begin to don't just go into the labor market to say, I want to get employment. You must first look within before you look outside. What exactly do I have to offer? What differentiates me, all right? So this is what distinguishes from every other applicant for a job role. In addition to that, it is the reason why the recruiter will want to meet with you. I always say something when I speak, that it will be an insane recruiter that will see somebody who matches the job role and will let them go. All right, so you must see it from the perspective of the recruiter. You must possess something that actually qualifies you for the job, and that thing is called your competitive advantage. I'm going to get into that as we move along. Of course, it's what positions you as a problem solver and not a job seeker. I like to speak about this quite a bit because I think that it's about mindsets. For me, a job seeker is somebody who is just out because, hey, I need a job, I'm through with school now, and so I need to get a job. But the truth about it is that no organization was set up with you in mind, all right? The United Nations was not set up with you in mind, but if you become somebody who can be a problem solver to the United Nations, then they can offer you a job position that is there. So you must have a solution mindset, a solution orientation from the onset. Now, once you're clear, okay, so someone might be asking, what exactly is your competitive advantage, all right? So let's look at a few things. The first one is cognitive abilities, all right? This has to do with the way your brain functions, all right? So it has to do with memory, it has to do with perception, it has to do with spatial understanding, several things and all that. And thankfully, there's a lot of assessments that are available that can help you to understand yourselves a bit more. I believe that the foundation for career success is self-discovery, basically to understand your innate abilities that distinguish you and position you. So I say this usually when I get to speak to people, that certain people, for example, are more numerate than others, and so they like numbers. So usually they do well in a finance role. But some people are more maybe linguistic, oriented, all right, and so they do well in certain career paths, that require that ability. So you must begin to understand what your cognitive abilities are. Now, beyond that, of course, you need to have acquired skills. Of course, you have technical skills. The basics are things around the use of, the computer, software on the computer, and then going beyond that to technical skills in your own area, all right, your own function. So yes, you studied a course, but do you really understand it? Did you get skills? Because it's the skills that enables you to do or to perform on the job. So you must have technical skills, and also you must have what we call soft skills. Now, soft skills have to do with things like business communication, being a team player and all that. They are not necessarily the kind of skills that help you to do the job, but they facilitate how the job is done, all right? So you must understand that, okay, I do have ability to relate well with people, interpersonal skills. That is actually something that can differentiate you from the next person that is seated next to you that's trying to get the job. In addition to that, your knowledge base is very important. Of course, we live in a knowledge economy. There's so much information that is available, and so you must be able to say that I do have knowledge about my field, knowledge about my industry, knowledge about the economy, where it has to do, and you are not too young to begin to know these things, because again, these are the kind of things. I'll give an example. Somebody that I was speaking to, he's the CEO of a media firm, and he used to work with a bank, and he gave an example. A particular day he had been reading the newspapers, and there's a particular rate that the Central Bank of Nigeria issues on a daily basis, all right, and that's what guides interest rates that banks, use to issue out loans to their clients. And so the MD walks in to the Treasury Department. That's where this gentleman was. He was pretty young, walked in, was doing an internship actually with the bank, and he says to everybody there, what's the NIBOR limit? Okay, that's what it's called. okay, and what's that rate for the day? And everybody was looking around, but interestingly, he had read that morning what the rate was, and so he just, blotted it out. And the MD was like, oh, okay, took that rate and used it to advise a client, and came back and said, young man, how did you know about it? He said, well, I read it. He said, follow me, and he began to mentor him, all right? So basically that differentiated him, all right? So you need to have relevant knowledge in your field. Of course, your personality, we know that there's a lot of information right now about personality, the different types of assessment. You have the DISC assessment, that's the Myers-Briggs assessment. You can check online for many of these things. You have the Thomas assessment. There's several of them. But the truth about it is that your personality, an understanding of your personality will enable you to know how to work effectively with others. And there's a field called emotional intelligence. And one of the things we found out is that beyond your IQ, your EQ, that is your emotional quotient, basically enables you to produce results a whole lot more. And it has a lot to do with understanding who you are. So when you realize, for example, that there's a customer service role that is available, and you realize that you're somebody that maybe if you use the DISC assessment, D is dominance, I is influence, S is steadiness, and then C is compliance. So an I person is an influencer, usually it's a people person. So that kind of person will do well in a customer service role. So that basically differentiates them. So when you attend an interview and they say, why should we hire you? You can speak about several things, but in addition, you could say, well, concerning my personality also, there's a strong alignment that enables me to function effectively within this role. So you need to understand your personality. Beyond that, of course, is relevant work experience. I'm going to talk about your years experience because I think it's excellent experience that will differentiate you. Particularly, many of you will be seeking international positions, and diversity is something, diversity in culture is something that a lot of organizations are taking on more seriously from a HR point of view. So relevant work experience. And I say to people that you shouldn't discount your work experience. Any work experience, as long as it's related to the job you are interested in, is something that can actually differentiate you from the other person, okay? International exposure, yes, that's the YES program, all right? I've read a bit about that, and to be honest, I wish, that when I was in college that I had that opportunity also, but I didn't. But you do have that opportunity, okay? The opportunity to live with a family, to learn a new culture, to work with people, learn new languages and all that. Let me say this to you, that it's a major competitive advantage you have, and you must learn to use it, okay? Never put it on the back burner. I expect to see that somewhere at the top of your resume to say basically that you're an alumni, all right? And the very interesting thing about the alumni scheme is that maybe somebody who has been through that program before recognizes that and says, you know what, this person obviously has good exposure and obviously can add value to this organization. So that's international exposure. Of course, education, so we went to school. How relevant is your education to the role that is at hand? What class of degree? All of those things also matter too. Now, let's begin to get into how to craft your CV. So I have a draft that I've put in there, so you can actually use that and adapt that. Okay, but I need you to understand the thinking behind crafting a CV. Okay, so now this is what I said, that the first thing is that a CV is a well-packaged document that, number one, showcases, number two, sells your competitive advantage. So before putting together your CV, you must already know what exactly differentiates you, okay? Because your CV is meant to sell. That's what I put up next, all right? That it's meant to help you to sell. So I said here, do not tell that your CV sell. To sell means you're not talking about, if you're going to sell something, for example, if you have a pen, you're not going to talk about the features, you're going to talk about the benefits. So basically your CV is saying that what is the benefit to the organization for hiring you? So you're going to say things a lot around your work experience, the kind of value that you added to the other organization you are with. That gives them an indication of the kind of value that you can add to them in this new organization. So do not tell with your CV, make sure you sell. Also ensure that you do not leave out any important thing that can give you an advantage. I have people, for example, that have written the resume form, and during their holidays, they help their parents with their retail business to sell things like carbonated drinks and things like that. And I said to them that, well, you are responsible for inventory management, and I'm talking about using business language and writing your CV. Okay, you liaise with customers. You are responsible for accounts receivable, so that's using business language. Okay, but don't discount that and say, well, I was just doing a holiday job for my mom. All right, find out what's the name of the business, put that in your resume, package it appropriately, okay, and use business language and write your CV, because a recruiter is looking out for somebody that will fit in an organization. So you need to begin to sound like what he's looking out for. Other CV tips: each CV sent out must be sent on the response to a vacancy must be written to appeal to the specific role being resourced. So it always amazes me when people have the same CV and they send that to every job opening. That's not right, okay? What you need to do is to be able to tailor your CV to the specific role. Again, I want to assume that you're not going to apply to every role, because really and truly you cannot truly succeed in every role. You must know your advantage and know those areas, those industries or the functions that basically can differentiate you. Now when you're applying there, you are now able to tailor the CV to the specific role. So for example, maybe in one CV you have put your education first, all right? But in this specific job opportunity, your work experience is what positions you more better for it. So I expect to see your work experience coming first rather than that education, okay? Because what that education is doing is that it's taking up the space that you would have used to market yourself, appropriately. Now, so that of course goes into the next thing. So the order in your CV should be based on your strongest advantage for getting the job. I've been asked, all right, is there a particular order for a resume? And yes, there are certain things that should come first. But let me say this to you, you are selling, all right? So what should come first is basically what differentiates you, okay? That should have priority. So the order in your CV should be based on your strongest advantage for getting the job. Do not discount unstructured work experience. I've spoken about it. Package it appropriately, okay? So make sure that you obey the 7 C's of communication. Now again, please understand that the CV is the first experience that the recruiter has of you. So your communication must be professional, all right? So there's a model called the 7 C's of communication. You go to Google, you can see it. It's about being clear, concise, concrete, correct, coherent, complete, and courteous, okay? So make sure that your CV actually obeys all these C's. Let's move on very quickly. So I just want to put here basic sections in your CV. Of course, you should have your career objective. Usually, I've seen people state a profile at the beginning of their career. And really, the profile speaks about your past. Now, you don't have a very robust work past, all right? So most times, I try to look out for a career objective. In other words, what are you seeking out in an organization? What understanding do you have of yourself, and how do you see that matches in an organization, right? So in the example I have, you see something around the career objective. You should have a career objective, of course, your work experience, your education, that should be properly written, the skills. Now, it always amazes me that people write out and list out about 20 skills. Now, the truth about it is that the recruiter is probably now in Nigeria, and I'm going to give you some information about that. In Nigeria, for an entry-level role, if you set out a job vacancy, for one role, you can get as much as 1,000 resumes in response to that. So for me as a recruiter, I want to go through these resumes. Not everybody is using technology at the moment, and even with technology, that 1,000 can still come to 150 CVs that meet the criteria. So I want to find out what exactly distinguishes people. So instead of, by the time I look at your skills, you have 20 skills. I look at number 1, 2, 3, 4. They don't match what I'm looking for. I move on, and funny enough, number 15 might be what I'm looking for. So again, you should do your work and state 3, 4, 5, key skills that basically position you better for the job. Beyond skills, I find a lot of people have leadership experience. You are part of a group, you have a social committee, whatever. You want to state that also, because again, leadership is not about a position. I'm sure you read stuff from John Maxwell and all that. Leadership is something, is influence, is an attitude, and you can begin to develop your leadership even from now. And organizations are finding out that a lot of people do need even what we call self-leadership, even at the entry level. So somebody who has effectively led others, for example, that person really can stand out. So if you do have leadership experience, that really can differentiate you. Of course, your hobbies, you should make sure the kind of hobbies that basically would position you. So there's some that you probably get into trouble. You want to avoid that as much as possible. Then your personal details. I say to people that when I meet somebody by their CV that has relevant experience, education skills, then I want to know who they are. And you now begin to provide your personal details at that point in time. Of course, some organizations will ask for a reference. You can provide that to them. And if it's not required, you can say to them that a reference will be provided as requested. Now, for the cover letter, I remember having a discussion with Kristen about this, that different nations, some nations emphasize the cover letter, some don't. But really, for multinational organizations, a lot of them ask for cover letters. So I'm giving you a sample that is there. You can use it and adapt it. Again, remember, don't copy it, adapt it, all right? So understand the thinking behind it, and then now create something that is original. Maybe do a peer review, get someone to look at it also. Give it to somebody that maybe is an aunt and uncle, and get them to also kind of like go through it, and then they should give you feedback on it. So a few tips about cover letters: make sure you address your cover letter appropriately. Usually, the company will tell you who you should address to. And if you are not sure, you can do a little research to find out who's the head of, who's the resourcing officer, who's the head of recruitment or whatever. Make sure you address it appropriately. Your cover letter should be designed specifically for the purpose you're writing and should be customized for each position. Again, the same way you have a different CV for every different position, you shouldn't have one cover letter, you should have different ones that will match the position that you're seeking to occupy. Make sure that your letter explains how your skills relate to the criteria listed in the job posting. So if you see the example that I put in there, you can get the file. You will see that the person that was there actually related their skills to the job posting. So don't just mention that I have about 100 skills. Now out of the 100 skills, which ones are the ones that would sell you? So give them one of the ideas when the cover letter is that when I read the cover letter, I then decide whether I want to go through the CV. Okay, so give them a good reason to want to go through your CV by stating the right skills. Okay, of course, skills, results, and keywords which relate to the description of the job for which you're applying and attest to your credentials in your cover letter must be included in that cover letter. Right. Lastly, your cover letter should not be more than 1 page long. Again, remember, I'm trying to sort through several resumes at the same time, and I want to make sure that once I see it on the first page, the reason why I'm looking for you must be stated there. Okay, so don't hide it on the second page because I just might gloss over it, and that opportunity that belongs to you, and I have to give to somebody else. Okay, I see somebody saying, would that be examples of what Mr. Tewe is talking about? Again, if you look at there's a file share there, and you have the entry-level cover letter, you have the CV that is there, you can actually pick it up from there. Excellent. Okay, now for interview success, so let's move to interviews. You can see first and foremost that I state here that preparation is key for success. So let me share a little story also about my first job that I ever got. Okay, so remember that I said to you that I studied agricultural economics. So I wanted to work in management consulting. So my education, the only thing that positioned me was that I had a good class of degree, but in terms of the content of the education, it wasn't really relevant to the role. However, I had a lot of experience, that I did based on interest. So I organized programs, empowerment programs for youth and things like that. And so all of that appeared in my CV. And so before I got into the interview, I rehearsed all of that. So of course, when I got there, and they were asking me information about all of that. But one thing I'd done then, Nigeria was still doing a lot in terms of establishing the internet. I had access to the internet back then and all. So I remember then that I went online to check about the organization. One question I'd like to ask, because again, if you want to be part of our organization, I want to be sure that you're not just looking for a job, but you're really trying to add value to us. And one way I will know is that you really understand what we are about, no matter what your job position is. You want to make sure that you have information about the organization. You want to add information about the job role. And then you want to talk about, you want to find out about key competencies for the role. I put a website there. It's free. It's a free online portal, and you can actually use it a whole lot more. And then 1 minute, I see that there's somebody's asking about, can you address it to whom it may concern? Now, that's the last resort. Okay, when you're doing a cover letter, okay, ideally you try to find somebody, but in the event that you don't get that information, it's fine to put to whom it may concern. So back to my slides now. Okay, of course, arrive on time, and of course, come well dressed. Let me make a confession. So I've been thinking, what should I wear? It's a youth program. Do I wear a t-shirt? Do I wear? All right. So when you're not sure, all right, go formal as much as possible. Okay. That way you never miss it. Okay. Try to be as formal as possible, and then get there and they say that to you that you're overdressed. Overdressed is better than underdressed. Trust me. Okay. So arrive on time and be well dressed. Be ready with answers for. There will be several questions that will be asked, but some typical ones are tell me about yourself. Now, what you don't want to do is to begin to repeat stuff that is on your CV, because I've read your CV already before I met you, so you don't want to go and tell me I went to this school, I studied this, I've seen that already. So you probably want to get, yes, you can start off with that, but you want to get into some information about the kind of experiences, what has even brought you to even applying for that job role, okay? So again, the interview, the objective of the recruiter is to find out, are you the person I am looking for? So you must begin from the onset, because I've seen interviews where after tell me about yourself, they're like, you know what, that's the end of the interview, okay? Because at that point in time, the recruiter says, I have probably 20 people that are out the door. I don't have a lot of time to go through this, so you must maximize that. So have a pitch ready, okay? Have a pitch ready. Why should you, another question, okay, all right, so I will speak a little slower. All right, that's fine, I apologize about that. Why should we hire you and not others being interviewed? Again, I hear people say, well, because I'm better than them, okay? And that is a really sour answer. Usually, what differentiates you basically will be around your education, will be about your enthusiasm for the job, which will be substantiated by the kind of research done about the role or something like that, okay? So you must give a tangible reason on why they should hire you and not somebody else. And of course, what value would you like to add to our organization? Again, one of the things I always say, I'll give an example. A particular lady was being entry level, was being recruited in another city in Nigeria for a particular role. It was a sales role. Now, when she got there, she did study something that was directly related to sales. I think she studied microbiology or something. But she had said to herself, I really want to build my career in sales. So when she got to the interview, so they asked her basic questions. She didn't really do too well. Then they asked her a question and they said to her, do you have any final questions for us? Any last questions at all? And she says, yes. All right. I'm wondering why your organization is not in Benin. Now, Benin is another city in Nigeria, because as she begins to give them some information about opportunities for business in Benin, all right, which is another city, and she gave them, very good, sound information that they did not even know about. They were not even aware that that opportunity was there. To cut the long story short, she got hired as a business development manager, not even an entry-level officer. Why? Because she was able to show the value that she was going to bring. So my charge to you is, you need to begin to think ahead, all right? Why do you want to join this organization? What value are you going to bring, okay? You want to answer that. That's very, very important, okay? We're getting to the end now. Prepare appropriately for tests. Again, a lot of tests around cognitive abilities. Again, in Nigeria, there's a lot of use of GMAT, for example, those kind of tests. I tell people that practice makes perfect. You want to do a bit of that. You want to prepare for assessment centers. Even as far back as 2002, I was subjected to an assessment center. Let me give you an example. We were 7 people that were vying for 3 roles. Okay, and so we've done some basic, we did a computer test, we did the assessment test and all, and then they put us in a room together. So 7 young guys are looking at themselves, saying to themselves, I'm the one going to get the job, not you, okay? I'm the one going to get the job, not you. And then, so everybody's quiet, waiting, and then all of a sudden, a young man, just speaks up and says, hey, you know what, my name is Tope, I went to this school, can I meet you? And then he begins to discuss. Before we know, we all warm up, begin to discuss. And then, the very interesting thing, everybody's called one after the other. They go, they don't come back. When it's my turn, I follow the head of HR, meet the CEO, and guess what the CEO asked me? Tell me 3 things about 3 people you met in that room. So if I have been sitting down now, why did she do that? In consulting, you must be able to network. You must have excellent social skills, okay? And so that was tested right there and then. Thankfully, thanks to Topway, all right, I was able to give good answers and eventually got the job position, all right? So things about group work, case studies, presentation skills. I heard you do a lot of presentations, and that's excellent, on the Yes platform. And you must keep developing yourself, because one key skill I think that will differentiate you is your communication skills, all right? That is very, very important. I see somebody asking, would you recommend long or short answers? I think appropriate, because sometimes the answer might require you to have a long answer. Sometimes it might just be a short and a direct one, all right? So whatever is suitable and what is comfortable with you, that will do. But make sure you don't keep rambling on and on, all right? When you don't know, sometimes I find people in an interview, they don't know the answer to a question and they just go ahead I say something, and sometimes it comes out, it actually take the shine off everything they've done, all right? So one thing you can do is actually acknowledge and say, hey, I really don't know it, but I can attempt. And usually the interviewer says, go ahead. And then the interviewer can now find out that actually the person does have some knowledge around that. Okay. Now, so nervousness, let me go back, sorry. That is one big one. You walk into the interview and you find out it's a panel of 6 people not smiling. What do you do when your hands begin to shake, all right? Now, from a physiological point of view, when you become nervous, it's simply because your blood, of course, the trigger, what you see triggers the speed of your blood flow, all right? So I learned a secret years back that helped a lot. Number one, you can actually press your palm together, all right, for a bit. What it does is that it slows down your heart rate. I've tried it, it works, okay? Another thing you can do is to realize that everybody does get nervous, so you need to calm yourself down. You start speaking, you find that you're stuttering, say, I'm so sorry, let me just get myself together, and then start again, all right? Every interviewer will give you that benefit of doubt, but please don't ramble through, because if you get it wrong at the beginning when you're nervous, it can actually make a mess of the whole interview session. All right, so I'm at the end of our presentation, but I want to share a few thoughts with you because I realize that we have people from different nations, and I know that unemployment in Nigeria, 2 out of 5 youth are unemployed, and I know that, I mean, for some of our nations, due to war and due to a lot of political challenges, for example, you have a lot of challenges getting work. But let me say this to you, I believe very sincerely that in the world today, that there's opportunity for employment for you. So a few parting thoughts. Number one, you must become convinced that there is an organization out there that needs you and needs what you carry. And your self-confidence is more important when it comes to success in an interview, right? So you must be convinced that there's somebody out there that requires what you carry, okay? That's first. Now related to that, I wrote here that self-confidence is key for success. And when I speak to someone in an interview, I can actually sense when somebody is confident, and usually that person comes up better. I did a live interview 2 days ago. It was in Nigeria. I have a kind of like an internship program that all graduates need to go through. And the ones in Lagos did, about 3,000 of them were seated together. I was speaking to them, and we did a live interview for a company that was willing to get a job. And the people that got the job, one of the key things that actually differentiated them was the ability to speak confidently, all right, about themselves, all right. So self-confidence is key to success, and you should know that self-confidence is a product of self-awareness, which is based on self-discovery. So again, all right, don't tell yourself I have nothing to offer. There is something that you have, innate abilities, acquired skills, relevant experience, a yes platform that basically will differentiate you. That should be the basis of your discovery, awareness, and of course the self-confidence. Now, in addition to knowledge and skills that you bring to the table, you must possess the right attitude. I can smell arrogance from a distance, all right? There's a difference between confidence and arrogance, all right? To avoid arrogance, okay, but stick with confidence, all right? Usually, you are not able to perform the role by yourself, so we want to see how well do you work with people, okay? Do you have the right attitude to work? Are you willing to put in extra hours if it's needed? What will be your attitude in those circumstances and situations, all right? So there's something we call behavioral interviewing, and so usually we're able to tell how you will behave in particular situations, all right? So again, the preparation for this is way before the interview. Begin to make adjustments of yourself and get ready for your big opportunity, all right? And so this is what I'm going to say in part, that in spite of the huge world population, there is no one like you, all right? It means that you matter to this world. You are a solution to your generation, all right? So thank you very much. That's what I have to share on the platform, and that's my contact details. You can reach me, but I'm open for discussions at the moment. Thank you, Kristen. Over to you.
Jimmy, thank you. So that was fantastic. And we have some really, really great questions. So a few of them you've already answered, and I'm just going to pull up a couple before we bring Abeer on. And one question is, when you're writing on your cover letter or in your CV, how far or how much detail should an applicant give when describing their experiences?
So this is what I recommend, because again, what you should focus on, one of the things I've mentioned earlier was the being concise in communication, all right? you want to focus, you can't list out all your skills, for example, on your cover letter. So my question is, what is the number one, number two skill that basically will differentiate you from every other person? Now, you can do 2-3 lines around that and then make a listing of the other skills you have and say to them that you will find more information about this in the CV. Okay, so you want to, again, the whole idea behind it is a competitive advantage. All right, so you don't want to, I mean, again, like I said, you should one page as much as possible, try to keep it at that, but whatever can sell you, please use that. Do a couple of lines, maximum 2 key things that differentiate you. You will see the example that I have there. You'll see that as short as a one-pager, but it's quite concise. There's a lot of information that gives you a good reason to want to look into the CV. All right, so it's difficult to say to you, have 4 skills that you work on and all, but I try to work on which ones will give you the biggest advantage.
All right, another question is, how do you properly answer the question, how can I help the organization, if you don't work there yet?
All right, so again, that no longer holds water because there's so much information about organizations. I give the example of the young lady who went online, all right? There's so much information. You can also do what we call an informational interview. What that means essentially is that you are able to find somebody that works either in that organization or in that industry in a related position and begin to find out what the role is about. And then you are now able to, from your own understanding, say, you know what, this organization might need help here. Now, worst case, they already do something about it. But when you're able to say, look, for my own research, all right, I find out that I think that there's not enough done in this area. These are the skills I have. I can actually bring this on board. I'll give an example. And there's somebody that I know that volunteered. He's based in the US. And he helped, there was a church there that he helped to set up the live stream. Okay. And interestingly, Accenture was looking for someone to set up live stream for them on the project. Okay. And what he was able to do was basically use that simple experience, okay, to now sell himself. Again, it all comes to this thing about competitive advantage, all right? And I was able to say to them, you know what, look, on the project that you're working on, you will need people that are, because there are going to be many events that are across the world to deal with, all right? I have done this for this organization, I can do this for you, all right? So that's how you basically sell to them in that instance.
I think we have time for one more question, and this is a great one. Someone already downloaded your sample resume, and they saw that, or cover or CV, and they saw that you included information such as gender, birthday, and marital status. Their question is, isn't there a chance that the recruiter might use this information against the applicant? For example, he or she is too young or is married and won't be committed to the job, etc. What is your recommendation?
What I've done with the CV is I've listed many things, all right? But again, you need to identify. Now, for example, in certain nations, that doesn't apply in Nigeria. Things around gender should not be mentioned, okay? But I put it there because this is an international context, all right? So you need to work with what is acceptable within your own nation. That's number one. The second thing about it is that if you find out that, because that happens a lot in Nigeria, entry-level positions, people are hiring from 24 to maybe about 26, 27. Now you're 29 years old, all right? I've seen people not actually list that out, so they didn't include that, but their work experience was so excellent, we invited them only for them also to find out that, hey, this person doesn't meet the criteria. And then what we had to do was like, you know what, as an organization, we actually can make an exception for this person. Again, I tell people that for your CV, you must stick with the truth. Wherever the truth can take you, don't go there, all right? Because a lot of people embellish their CVs. You want to avoid that, okay? Integrity, I believe, is something that is very important on this platform. So what you need to do is try to stick with the information that positions you a whole lot more. So what I've done with that sample is I've listed several things where you can pick the ones that are relevant. Now, when you have a concern that it might be used against you, and let me say this to you, contrary to what you think, companies are looking for young people. I have a bank that I did some work for, and they are actually replacing some level of middle managers with entry level because they find out that the ones that are doing excellently can function better, they're more committed, all right? They don't have many things bugging them, all right? And so they're able to add a lot more value. So again, what I'll say, in closing in this is that stick with what will basically position you. So what I provided is just several items, but stick with what will position you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Great answers. And definitely, as Jimmy mentioned, every country is different. So be sure that you adapt all of these tips to your own context. Do a little research. There's so much information online, and we have a lot of resources that will be available to you on the alumni page under alumni resources. So you can always check there or share, and we'll post them with friends and just adapt to the context that you have. So thank you again, Jimmy. He is not leaving. He'll be available in the chat space, so you all can continue asking him questions. Also, connect with him on any of the contact information he provided, and I'm also sharing his blog, so you all can read up on more tips and follow his blog at jimmytewe.wordpress.com and keep up on all the great tips and advice that he has to offer. So thank you, Jimmy. We're going to go ahead and switch over to our next panelist, Abeer. So we'll go ahead and change screens now. All right. And Abeer, you can go ahead and connect your camera, hopefully, and your microphone if that works. And she will be joining us from Palestine today. And she is the CEO of StayLinked, a startup company that aims to develop and facilitate employment of Palestinian professionals by linking them with online job opportunities around the world. Let's see if she will be able to connect with her. I know the connection was a little tricky this morning. So Abeer also, aside from being the CEO and founder of StayLinked, she also has worked as a Career Guidance Supervisor at the Center of Entrepreneurship and Career Development in Palestine Polytechnic University, where more than, I think, 700 students and graduates receive career advice and training every year. So she's definitely very busy. So we're very excited to have her join us today. Abeer has also recently received awards as the Best Technology Enabler and Facilitator, awarded to her by MEA Women in Technology Awards. And she was also listed as 100 Most Powerful Arab Women in CEO Middle East magazine. So we're really honored to have her here with us today, and so grateful that she took some time to join us and to give us some of her advice and to share her experience, not only as an entrepreneur, but as a career counselor for youth, and to give us some tips on how to get started either with our own ideas or for planning our career. So Abeer, it looks like the camera wasn't connecting, so maybe we'll just stick with audio. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. So let me go ahead and close this. I'm sorry.
Yes, it's okay for me. Good morning or good evening. Yeah. For everyone. Jamie, it was a great presentation. Thank you for this great presentation. Hi, everyone. I would like to start by introducing myself. My name is Abeer Abu Ghaith. I'm CEO of StayLinked Company and Career Guidance Supervisor at Palestine Polytechnic University. I'm very pleased and proud to share my experience with great leaders as you. You know, I always believe that the success is not secret. It's all about tactics. Today, I will share with you these tactics that I used to transform from unemployed woman lives in a small town outside of city to one of the world's 100 most powerful Arab women in the world. In my presentation, I'm going to talk about my business, StayLinked, how I start my business, the skills that I use to overcome the challenges. We will talk about tactics. And I will talk about how to planning for your career. the most important things to consider about online presence and reputation as a job seeker. So, and we will, there will be plenty of time at the end of my speech for questions and discussion. Okay, are you ready? Let's start. I faced three key challenges that are interlinked. As a youth, I faced special challenges due to political conflict environment that I lived in. This situation affects on the local market and increase high unemployment rate among youth and women, and our access and effect on our access of main services such as 3G access, electricity and water, and also traveling. Also, I have a challenge as a non-city resident. I faced special challenges due to political conflict environment. I can't travel to the city itself because we have checkpoints. We have lack of infrastructure, lack of water and electricity, lack of road security. And that's one of the main and major challenge that we faced. Also, I faced challenge as a female. The society become extra protective due to the above two factors, and also I faced traditional non-religious bases are used against me. As you see, I'm as a Palestinian youth and woman has a very tough challenges. But always I believed in Bernard Shaw quote that he said, people are always blaming their circumstance for what they are. I don't believe in circumstance. The people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want. And if they can't find them, make them. That's what happened with me. We, with my partners, we work to turn our challenges into opportunity. You will ask me how. We turn the challenges by, we start with the study the strength point that we have in Palestine. These points talk about that Palestinian has population of tech-savvy young people. We have regional advantage in use of English language, and also Palestinian youth and women are familiar with and have already access to computers and internet needed for online work. The cost for access to internet and or broadband is relatively competitive from a regional perspective. The high number of unemployment. Look here, I'm talking about challenge. The high number of unemployment and unemployed skilled women in cities outside of the main cities offers valuable source of labor to start our own business. Then we create StayLinked. StayLinked act as a talent broker between a skilled Palestinian freelancer and business with project needs that can be delivered leveraging remote service resourcing. StayLinked Talent Network is comprised of creative and motivated freelancers with expertise in translation, graphic design, 3D modeling, data entry, online marketing, website development, and more. Then StayLinked have differentiator by provides quality assurance for their services for key services prior to delivery to the end client. In the same time, we guarantee the payment of freelancers after doing their work. So we turn our challenges to opportunities in StayLinked. What tactics that I used in my entrepreneurial journey? First of all, I want to be positive. You have to be positive. You have to think positive. You have to do positive, and you have to be positive. Looking for a job is matter of attitude. Assume a positive attitude. Remember, as a student or graduate, you are now looking for the job you want. So you have to be positive. To make a good impression, you need to be positive and engaging, which can be sometimes, I know sometimes that will be hard when you are weighed down by the burden of unemployment. But being positive is a vital precondition for your job search. If you feel negative or unenthusiastic, it could come across when you meet people and they won't buy you. So, the first tactics, how to stay positive. Okay, some of people, they will ask me how I stay positive. I want to give you a way. Always remember your achievement. You should have a bank of achievement that you keep for your CV anyway. So that every time you apply for a job, you can include those which are most relevant. These demonstrate what you do when you are performing at your best and could come from any area of your life, work, family, or social. You have to be always be proud of yourself. All of us has achievement. So by reviewing this list, that will help you to recall the mood of success. The second tactic that I used is finding the perfect mentor to guide you to success. That's very important things that you have in your career life. A mentor is someone you can look up to, normally deemed to be a trusted counselor or guide. Mentors play a crucial part in our lives by sharing their experience, words of positive thinking, and how you can go about getting the best out of your life. In fact, a mentor can emerge in various forms. A mentor gives the students, a unique or graduate or any employee, a unique tool, training or advice that puts them on the right road of life's journey that suits the particular challenges they face. A mentor cannot free anyone from life's challenges, but they can teach you how to cope with them, overcome them, learn from them, and move on to your next level of growth. So, mentor is one of the most important tactics that you need. The second or the third tactic is how to dream big and start small and act now. I still remember when I developed my business, I don't have money and I don't have office or big office. I start from my home. I start from my room. My room was my office and my bedroom. So I don't need anything, each of my laptop and internet connection. And I need to be believed in my dream and my ability to achieve this dream. It's so easy to get lost in the big picture of what you are trying to achieve. I know. We look at a particular task and sometimes don't know where you start, but it's so easy. And something I say to myself at least 3 times a day: start at the beginning, start at the beginning, start at the beginning. It sounds so clear, yeah? It's stupid sometimes, but it's so true. Think of what you are trying to achieve. Think about the steps that you need to take to make it happen. Write them down in a structured format and act now. Don't wait. Don't talk to yourself, okay, I will wait till I have money. No, you can't. You can act now. Don't wait. Then, or the second tactics how to sharpen your skills. Your skills, it's your values in market. So you should in your journey of or in your career life, you should identify your interests, skills, and knowledge level. So the question that you should ask for yourself are what career, work, or hobby activity that you are interested in. You have to be honest with yourself. And then ask yourself what skills do you have from your past education, volunteer, part-time or full-time jobs, or training opportunities or shadowing program. Then you have to ask yourself what knowledge you have gathered from past education, life experience, and from simply doing. Take time to sharpen your skills, your tools, and your resources, and you will be more productive. I guarantee that. Second and very important tactics is how to grow your network as a job seeker. Good networking is the basis for many things, as finding your next dream job, finding new clients, finding new customers, finding new employees. This is networking. It's very important things. And you know that 70% of jobs are found through networking. But before you networking, you have to be aware of the golden or the triangle of networking, the principles of networking. You have to use it when to be good networker or to be successful networker. First of all, you have to give or share. I just can say in this point, give without remembering, receive without forgetting. Then ask for help. I know it's the asking is the most difficult task of networking, but sometimes a necessary one. Everyone, why it's necessary? Everyone likes to give because our brains are made in a way that it gives satisfaction when you are giving. But please note that you have to never start by asking. Start always by giving. The third point, it's about thanking. Most of us do thank people when we have received something or when someone has delivered a solution to a problem. But do we always thank people when we don't get something? Do you thank one for to take time to look for a solution but he didn't find it? Or when take the time to just listen to your problems? We have to learn how to thank, how to ask, how to share, taking the golden triangle into account when dealing with your network, and you will see the result. We need now to be aware of career stages. A lot of students comes to my office in university and told me we don't know what is the way that we have or what we want. We don't have goals in our lives. I just want to be aware of the stages in the career. The main stages in a career cycle include exploration stage. Exploration stage, this stage often lasts from 15 years old to 24 years old. In this period, people have many different career choices, and they often tend to choose job careers they have been counseled tutored, or the jobs they think will fit their abilities and wishes. The most important in this stage is that people need to develop broad knowledge and a variety of job skills. In this stage, I advise you to try everything. How you will know that you love marketing if you don't do this job? How you will know that you don't like, for example, teaching if you don't try that? So you can try that by voluntary work, by joining into training, or entering in competition and programs that will enhance your skills, and in the same time that you will have knowledge, or you will have knowledge about what the skills that you have and what is your strengthening point. The second stage is building stage or establishment stage. This stage from the age of 25 to about 35 or 40. In this period, people work primarily to find out whether the career choice they made is suitable or not. You will try some jobs. The third stage is a stability or stable period. Normally from the age of 30 to 40, and people often have identified their own career goals and have specific plans to decide what should continually to be done to reach those goals. There are continuing the path, choosing or turning to another job career. Also, I want to talk that inside this stage there is mid-career period. This period lasts from mid-30s to mid-40s. During this period, people often compare what they have tried to pursue, the difficulties in career they have, the loss they have endured to follow their career path, as well as their career ambitions, with the achievement they have got in career, such as position, salary, and so on. Fourth stage is a retiring stage. In this stage, in this period, the sense of responsibilities toward the job has decreased, and they must accept the new role of the young generation. Some people find their ambitions in this stage, and may giving in another area. A lot of us talk about wondering about what they have to do with their lives. I know it's a hard question. To start with, I always advise to think about the amount of time we spend at work. We are on the job approximately 71% of every year. Over our lifetimes, this comes out to roughly 31 years out of the 45 years most of us spend working. The importance of selecting a career with which we are satisfied cannot be overemphasized. It's very important. While some people, they are lucky because they just know what they want to do and end up in satisfying career without giving it much thought. But most of us are not. Many people don't put enough effort into choosing occupations or pick them for the wrong reasons. Maybe they choose careers that seem secure or pay well. Then they will end up unhappy. So, your decision regarding career is very, very important. The best way to make sure that doesn't happen to you is to make a well thought out decision. And you have to believe in your decision, and you have to be your decision, not decision of your family or if your friends. You have to follow career planning process. Here I want to share with you the career planning cycle or the career planning process. Career planning cycle or process is comprised of 4 steps. First steps is self-assessment. During these steps, you will use a variety of tools to gather information about yourself. You have to know your interest, work values. You have to know your values. What is most important for you? It's some money, or to spend a lot of time with your family? Do you want job give you opportunity to spend time with your family, or you want job give you opportunity to enhance the world? What do you want? You have to know your values. And also in this stage you will know about personality type for you and development needs. What is your weakness? You have to know where are you now to upgrade, to reach for your goals. The second process is about career exploration. You have to, in this stage, you have to be very connected with your market to know what they need. Most of our countries, they face the same problem. We have gap between education and between market. So that's effect on the employment rate among youth and women. Explore the occupation that appear to be good fit based on the result of your self-assessment. So you can explore other occupation that interested you. You have to make research about the industries in which you would like to work. You can make job shadowing, or you have to join to part-time work, internship, or voluntary opportunities. All these activities can give you more information about your market. The third steps in the career planning process is to decide what do you want. You have to set your goals. During this phase of the career planning process, you will decide which occupation is the best fit for you, based on what you know about yourself and the occupations that you have researched. The fourth steps is it's about to take action. You have to take action. First of all, after you ask yourself about this question, you have to write. You have to write to transform your ideas into something you can read. First, write a career action plan. This will serve as a guide that will help you to reach your goals. So identify your long-term and short-term goals. Develop job search strategy. Write your resume. Prepare for job interview. The most important thing that you have to note that the career planning process is a circular one. You may have to go back to the beginning or any phase at some point in your life as you redefine yourself and your goals. You may even have to do this more than once. This is circular process, so you can start from anyone. The last thing or the last topic that I want to discuss with you, and Personally, I benefit from this topic, and I find it's very important for a job seekers. It's about online reputation. I want to ask you if you try to search for your name in Google and search results. Do you anyone try to do that? I want the other question that I want to ask you after you make search about your name. Are you satisfied about your online image? Are you satisfied? Online presence and reputation have become very important. Do you know that 70% of employers have rejected a job candidates because of information that they found about the person online? Did you know that 85% of employers says that a positive reputation influences their hiring decision? So what I'm trying to say, that it's that your online presence now, it's very important. You have to care about it. As a job seeker, the most important things that you have to consider about online presence and reputation are to build online presence. Build online presence that recruiters can find you. There are amount of options available when you want to build your online presence, such as LinkedIn. Did you hear about LinkedIn? It's a network for professional people. It's very important. You can use it to learn how to write your CV. You can use LinkedIn, Google+. But I want to please be to say that you have to be very careful when you using Facebook. The second one of when we talk about your reputation, you have to know how to manage your online presence and reputation in order to appear consistent and well to recruiters. You have to ask yourself, and you have to decide how you want to appear to the outside world. And regularly double check your message on all your online platforms. And please, always to try to only post positive messages. I know a lot of people, a lot of youth, that they don't care about their online reputation. But that's really effect on your job search, because all employers want to know personal things about the job candidates, because that will reflect a lot of things for them in the future. So I want from you to always search about your name in Google and search about results, and ask yourself if you are satisfied or not. And if you can also ask a friend to look at your online presence to assess your online reputation. That's very important. If you want to, and I recommend for you to using LinkedIn, because I'm personally have good job offers through LinkedIn. And also I can build good business partnership with US companies by using LinkedIn. So if you want to build your professional reputation online, you can use LinkedIn. If you want to connecting or to building network, you can use LinkedIn, because you can find all CEOs, most of CEOs, most of leaders in your industry from all countries through LinkedIn. And you can also use LinkedIn as a career exploration. You can the LinkedIn always post up-to-date news about your industry. So you can read a lot of articles, a lot of updates about your industry. And also you can, if you don't have role model, you can find your role model by using LinkedIn. At the end, I want to thank you for hearing for me or for my presentation, and I hope you benefit from this presentation and from my experience. Please, if let me know if you have any questions.
Abeer, thank you.
Thank you.
Abeer, thank you so much. That was such a fantastic presentation. Learned so much about networking and career planning. And I think it goes so well with the tips that Jimmy gave us as well. So really thinking through that process and the steps that you take in exploration, plus how to package what those experiences are so that you can continue finding new experiences. So this has been so great. A couple of questions that came up that we'll start with. First question, Abeer, is how does one decide who their mentor should be, and how do you go about asking them to be your mentor?
Yes. This is a good question and very important question. Before start my entrepreneurial journey, I asked myself about my values, and I write my values. I said, okay, what I care about? What is the values that very important for me? After determining these values, I said, okay, who is the role model for me and why? I asked myself why why this person is the role model for me. I can get a mentor for me by doing voluntary work, because when you do the things that you love, you will meet the people that you will be mentor for you, because you have a mutual interest. I still remember when I go to my mentor and send SMS for him. When I faced challenge, I told him, look, my mentor, I feel that I'm not the right person to manage this company. I mean, StayLinked. He said for me, you know what? He said, okay, Abeer, you are right. And that's it. After that, he sent for me another SMS, and he told me, you know what, Abeer, you are right. If you will be right, you will be really right, and you are not the right person to manage this company if you leave StayLinked. And because he gave me these steps, I reach now to this point. I think it's very important to have a mentor in your life.
Thank you. So definitely a lot of it too is finding those people through experiences, and then sometimes just finding what maybe you're interested in, and as Jimmy mentioned before, having informational interviews with people at maybe organizations or companies that are doing things that you're interested in, and establishing those relationships and just asking. I think it never hurts to ask, right? All right, our next question is what kind of things do you share with your network, and how do you share gratitude or say thank you professionally?
You can share information that you have by your network. For example, if you received new information, you can share it with people. benefit from this information, because when you share this information, you will not lose. All of people that you shared with them, they will be win, and you will be win, because you will have good will have good feeling. Also, all of us have something to share with others. So don't feel that, or don't underestimate what you have. And regarding the ask questions, you can, for example, you can ask questions, or you can ask advice from people. That's what I do. What I did in my career life. I always ask people about their advices and about their opinions regarding some of the challenges that I faced, because all of them have experience and they want to share this experience with others. So you will give them a good feeling when they are sharing, when you are asking them about their experience or advices or anything.
All right, and our last question, just because we're a little bit over time already, is what if someone is forced to do a career or a job for financial reasons? How do they learn to love what they don't like?
Okay. They can, first of thing, you have to try. You have to try you have to try different things to know what you love. You can try by join into voluntary groups, or for example, by joining training, and by join initiatives or competition. You can, when you can try, that will enable you to know what you love in your career. In my last before 2 years, I remember that I received three offers. One offer was to be regional director. The second offer that to be economic director in Palestine, and the third one, it was to be entrepreneur and to don't have any salary. So I remember that I stay in my room and ask myself questions. These questions about my vision. What is my vision? What is my values? And what is my goals? And I say to myself, okay, I will not lose anything if I try for 1 year, and if I see if I can succeed or not. And that's what happened with me. I determine my values, and then determine my goals and vision. And Christine, I want to add something, that you always you have to revise your vision of your life. Always we change our goals, our visions. So you have to always revise it.
I think that's great advice, and in some of the conversation that's been happening in the chat room, people have been talking about, something that might be satisfying now can change later. And I think anymore in the world, and Jimmy can confirm this too, that careers change, people change careers, I think an average of 8 times throughout their life. So, it's all about knowing yourself and doing things that make you happy. And sometimes you are in a job that you don't love, but for financial reasons. And I think the advice here is to one thing is to find parts of that job that you do love, or to bring in your skills to that job so as to create opportunities for things that you love. And the other option is to also find things outside of work that you love, so that you can find that balance in your life, and eventually it will hopefully lead you to a job that both fulfills your financial needs as well as your passion. So I think all of that is really fantastic advice. So I know we could probably keep talking for another hour, and unfortunately we are again a little over time as usual. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up, but I want to say thank you to Jimmy and to Abeer. This has been such a fantastic presentation. I've been taking a lot of my own notes as we've been talking, and I think the conversation here has been great. So thank you both for your time. Thank you to all of the attendees for joining us and for your great conversation. I'd like to remind you that these resources here are available for download, but you can always go to the Yes Alumni page, where we have many, many more alumni resources. The resources from this webinar will be up later today, along with the recording, so you can tell all of your friends who missed it to go check it out, and to also download resources. I also recommend that you follow, that you check out this blog that I just chatted to you as well, youngprofessionaltimes.com. There's also really great tips and information there, and your alumni coordinators are always happy to help, and of course your fellow alumni as well. So again, thank you everybody for joining, and I look forward to seeing you all for our next webinar. We are planning to have a follow-up soon, a follow-up webinar looking more in depth on how to use LinkedIn for the job search and for creating your online identity. So keep an eye out on social media and the Yes Facebook page for more information about that. So thank you again. I'll go ahead and leave the chat space up, so if anyone wants to keep chatting, you can for a few more minutes. And hopefully Abeer and Jimmy can join us there as well for a few more questions. But thank you again.